Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, the Yogi Minimalist Fit Enthusiast. Today's practice will involve a gentle flow, yin flow. But in doing so, I want us to think about a Yama and Niyama. In this case, Aparigraha and Santosha. Aparigraha is non-possessiveness. So think of not being greedy, non-clinging, non-attachment, non-grasping. And Santosha is contentment. So it's a practice of accepting who we are, where we are. And this goes together. Because if we're practicing not being greedy, obviously, we're practicing being contentment with where we're at. Being contentment is being okay with not being contentment, also. So keeping that in mind. Santosha doesn't mean that we lack the ambition. It just means that we're being present in the moment. And it means that we're moving towards our goals in a state of contentment and peace. And this can be practiced obviously on and off the mat. But while we're on the mat today, I do want us to give us that opportunity to think about it. So right now we're centering, sitting in Sukhasana or easy pose. Lift up through your chest and press your shoulders down. Breathing in and out through your nose. Practicing Ujjayi breathing, which again, this is involving closing your throat. So in a way you are restricting your breath. Making sure your face is relaxed, shoulders are down. And then thinking of how we're practicing Santosha. What are ways that you practice off the mat? So while we're centering, think of the things you are currently happy for. Where do you find contentment? Same things that we do find contentment with. What are things that we are not happy with, or something we may want more of? And then in thinking of these things, because sometimes they are things, and most of the time these are things that we can go without. And then when we think about this, when it comes to being on the mat, there are plenty of times where we may feel we can't accomplish a certain asana pose or posture. And we instead not take the time to actually appreciate where we are. So gently lift yourself up. And then you're going to bring yourself into tabletop. Now, Cross your feet behind you. I'm just going to turn around here so you can see caterpillar. Extend your legs out nice and tall. Chest is lifted, core is in. Now you're going to hinge from your hips. Keep your feet flexed and then draw your chin close to your collarbone, but also round your back. So you want to round the back and then dive in as much as you can. And depending on how your back feels, you may have to adjust yourself, but I do want you to focus on opening your upper back. Breathing deeply. Creating that space. And being happy where you are at right now, right in the present moment. Because oftentimes we don't give ourselves credit, and we tend to just think futuristically and not think about what we're doing at the moment and how it's benefiting us. So embracing being content, but also embracing being content with not being content, right? Take a big inhale, and letting it go, and slowly roll yourself up. And then I want you to lift one leg up. You're going to cross it to the other side so that your knees are up and down from each other. Sit up nice and tall. And then go ahead and hinge forward. And then now we're considering Aparigraha and how being greedy allows us to not be content. So now I want us to think about our greed. And of course, it can be difficult. Who wants to sit around and think about the things we're necessarily being greedy about or feeling as if we're being selfish? And being greedy, that can mean with anything, just like with contentment. So not just materialistically, but how are we being greedy with it when it comes to other people or our time or with ourselves, with our responsibilities or lack thereof. and release yourself further into the pose if you would like. As we're finding a little bit of give and take, and that's exactly how it should be off the mat. Not being greedy with one thing or the other. Take a big inhale. Exhale and slowly and gently lift yourself up. Use your hands and place your leg that was bent on top of the bottom leg and set it down. And then we're going to switch on over to the other side for the half shoelace. You're going to lift up your leg and gently stack the knee on top of the other. Lift up nice and tall. And take your time. If you're feeling it here, then keep it right here. Again, it's all about finding that give and take, not being greedy, right? Or not being greedy with Aparigraha. And finding that contentment. So again, going right back into Santosha. We're finding what works for us, regardless of how it may look to us, because that can often happen if you're practicing yoga with other people, or you're in a studio, or you're with an instructor. We have those expectations with ourselves. Sometimes we set it in a whole different way and not realizing that you don't need to have that expectation. There isn't a need for that. There isn't a need. It's all about just working with your body and finding that happiness right then and there in the present moment. And take a big inhale. Exhale and gently bring yourself up. Pick up your leg and have them both extended out straight. Sitting up nice and tall. Flex or point your toes, and then we're going to hinge from the hips. Not rounding the back this time. Exhale and gently bring yourself up. And cross your legs in front. Roll yourself up into tabletop. And then gently chaturanga. So with the chaturanga, you can bring it to your knees, but we're going to gently bring ourselves down all the way down to Belly Shavasana. And place your hands right underneath your shoulders. Then on an inhale, lift up into Sphinx pose or Cobra. And then you can keep it here if you would like, or if you want a deeper back bend, you can bring your elbows underneath your shoulders, or you can even extend up all the way for seal. So finding whichever one feels good and finding that contentment. On an exhale, draw your chin down. And then on the inhale, gently lift your chin up. Chest is staying lifted up. Stretching the front of your throat. Opening up your throat chakra. Exhale and draw your chin down. Inhale and gently lift it up. Exhale and draw your chin down to the center. So now your neck is neutral. And then on an exhale, let's twist to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale and twist to the other side. Exhale to the center. On an exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale and bring yourself to center. Still continue pressing your shoulders down and lifting up through your heart. Exhale and side bend on over to your right. Inhale right back to center. And then drop yourself all the way down gently to the mat and then place your hands down and at your sides. So arms are down and at the sides instead of it being forward. And you're going to place your hands underneath your shoulders so you can gently press back into child's pose. For child's pose, you are welcome to keep your arms out on top, so right above your head, or you can bring them down and at your sides for balasana. On
Balasana is very grounding, and it just takes us back to centering ourselves. And oftentimes we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and that can help decrease being content and increase our greed for definitely wanting more. But learning to just let it go and learning to accept the way that you are and the way that things are. And that will help create an abundance for more things to come. You just have to allow it, but not focus on that, especially when it comes to things that we can't really control, materials, people. But here we have the opportunity to control ourselves, but at the same time accept ourselves for where we are. On an inhale, gently lift yourself up. And then we're going to extend our legs out as we roll on over to our backs for Shavasana. And then place your right hand near your heart and your left hand on your belly. Then we're going to breathe in deeply and exhale out through the nose, not holding on to the breath. So finding that peace from within and allowing your breath to equally flow in and out through your nose. So again, practicing Aparigraha. And this gives us the opportunity to not restrain ourselves and allow ourselves to just be as we lie on the mat, finding gratitude. And not what we just did for our body, but for our time and creating that space and energy. Thinking of what makes us happy, including ourselves. Definitely don't leave yourself behind. But also not being greedy with yourself. Not being greedy with time, with people, and their time. But learning to find that balance or compromise, which allows us to become more mindful of what we're doing, not just on the mat, but off the mat. And I want you to take this energy of learning something about yourself today, but also learning to be more content with where you are and not adding unnecessary pressure on yourself. I want you to take that energy with you
off the mat today. I want to thank you so much for joining me today in this gentle, full body yin. And I also want to thank you for allowing me to express my gratitude for the yoga ethics in today's discussion on Santosha and with Aparigraha. I really hope you learned something today, and I will see you in the next practice. Namaste.